are your guys from Seaside. That is Bob Mathis, blowing that horn for Seaside for more than 25 years. That is Jerry on those drums, Harley on the bass, and that is Max on the Paul Lloyd Ward piano. Great job. And good morning, Seaside. Woo, what a joy it is to be here. It's a fabulous day. It's just truly exciting to be here in this energy, and I am grateful that you are here. Your presence here today is helping to evolve what is to emerge here this morning, and it's an exciting morning to hear how Spirit's going to show up. And what's different about today is that I'm not going to be doing all the talking. I'm going to be asking you for questions. So as we get going a little bit further, I'm going to be saying, hey, guys, you got any ideas or any questions? I'm asking you to keep them short, like telescopic brevity there, and you share, and we'll see what Spirit has to show up. But I'll tell you what, with a day like this, I definitely need my prayer support. So I'm going to call out the individual holding the light today, and this is Kelly Miller, and she carries our light, symbolic of there is a light that is always burning here at Seaside, and she's going to our spiritual support center. And we have an individual every week of a high consciousness sitting there just being a download for Spirit to move into this space, holding that high watch, which is symbolic of just staying aware of the presence of God and not getting caught up in the service, just being a place where knowing God. So that's where I look a lot. But also in the Spiritual Support Center is the place where you can go if you want a prayer request. You can write out a prayer request and put it in our prayer request chest, and it's prayed on every day for a week by our 40, 50 spiritual practitioners. It's in confidence. No one else knows but the practitioners, and they pray on it every day for that highest good. So take advantage of that. But also there's practitioners that stand back there. If you would like a prayer in that moment, you just ask them after the service. But what's special about today is the last Sunday of the month is our Sacred Sunday, where we eliminate announcements at the front end and create the opportunity for you to have personal prayers from practitioners at the end of the service. And so we create what we call our prayer wall, or a chalice for you to come up and ask for prayer, and they'll pray specifically for you. So that's kind of what Sunday's looking like. But what I'd like you to do is just stand up, say hello to the person next to you, greet them, let them know how pleased you are that they are here today with you.
Good morning, Seaside. Please remain standing for the congregational song. I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I'm happy, so happy. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. Come on, Bob. I'm happy, so happy. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender, I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God.
Woo, that's a good place to put your trust. That's Whitney Shea, voted San Diego's best blues singer this year. And heard you took over Balboa Park last night, $100,000 of multimedia equipment shining. What was going on?
Yeah, it was pretty wonderful. I mean, seeing Balboa Park in a kind of private event was really wonderful to see it at night all lit up. And it's always wonderful to get to help two people celebrate love.
All right. Well, good. Hey, I'm glad you made it back on time for us here today. The good thing. So, hey, I'll tell you what, don't hesitate. Take out your phone, check in with your Facebook, let your friends know you are here having a good time. You're welcome to take pictures and share it. Let people know that the happening place on Sunday mornings is right here at Seaside. That music cannot be any better at 11 o'clock in the morning than what one can find right here on this stage. So don't hold back. But once again, we'd like to take it deeper, deeper, and deeper in consciousness. And this powerful practitioner, Kathy Bouquet, she is the head of our Heart-to-Heart ministry. And that is the ministry where we take our hands and our hearts off our campus and get involved in the community. Like last month, we were helping build a house for veterans. I know you're looking at the next project, taking over and adopting a canyon here in North County. So there's lots of good ideas. But I know you have a great one right now for all of us. So, Kathy Bouquet.
Please join me in the stillness. In the stillness, I know the truth of my oneness with the divine, that harmony, that peace, the love that goes on and on. And I know for each person here, the oneness that is felt in each heart. And in gratitude for that joyous communion that we share in the sanctuary at the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living, I bless each one with perfect peace and divine grace, now and always.
God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He is so good to me. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to
Thank you for that call to worship, Whitney, Shea, and Max. God is so good. Good morning, Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. So we come together on Sunday morning to recognize the goodness of God as our lives, that we are connected by this one power and this one presence and by this one perfect Spirit. For we see with the spiritual eyes of God, and we recognize that we are all one, no matter what the nature of who we are. It is the uniqueness, our multiplicity that moves into the oneness of spirit. And so if this is your first time here, I say welcome. Welcome to our spiritual family, and we would love for you to become part of our spiritual family. In the back of the living room is a welcome packet for each and every new person here. And in that packet, there are coupons to get to know Seaside. We have our In-Spirit bookstore. Matter of fact, I just bought this beautiful necklace there that the girls helped me out with. And there's also a CD in there of Dr. Christian Sorensen explaining the basic beliefs of our teaching. So this is really a unique service where Dr. Christian will be doing a question and answer. So if there's anything within you that's kind of been mulling in your spirit that you want answered, just raise your hand, and he would just allow that a conduit within him just to express itself so perfectly. Last service was so powerful. And before I pray us in, what I would like to do is invite Kat, who is our communication specialist, up. She is going to announce the winners of the social media Joyous Abundant Journal competition, or whatever it was. It was just activity that we had here at Seaside.
Good morning. How are you? Okay, so as you guys know, we've been doing 31 days to Joyous Abundance using Reverend Christian's Joyous Abundance Journal, and it's been a lot of fun. So we have 2 more days, today and tomorrow, but for the past 30 days, we've had so many pictures and so many beautiful images. So today, in the morning, we presented Daniel with the first place. He's not here, but I'm pretty sure he can hear the applause. And he received his books this morning. For third place, we have a beautiful, funny, humorous individual. So we did the drum roll for Daniel this morning. Go ahead and start your... For third place, we have Karen Buxman. If you would like to come on up to receive your gifts. I just saw her. Oh. Okay. All right, and then for second place, again, very creative, very unique. The images are beautiful, and Marva's going to put them up in a second. We have, drum rolls, please. We have Kelly Robertus. For you.
Thank you. She's great. Kat helped me. She's a digital native, and she was so sweet with just helping me do my first post, and very encouraging, and it's really fun. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kat. I can't wait for our next adventure with you. So Karen and Kelly, congratulations. Beautiful job. So today is the 30th day, and the book, the Joyous Abundant book, written by Dr. Christian Sorensen, the word of the day is diversity. Spirit has placed a stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. Ernest Holmes. How can we consider ourselves a part of one human family if we can't embrace the cultural differences of our brothers and sisters around the planet? How can something fresh ever get in, and if we stay closed to new experiences? Being open to embrace others' expression is part of the expanding spiritual journey of oneness. When the question of difference and separation stirs in your awareness, it's a divine invitation to consciously draw the circle of love and inclusivity wider. Put your hands together over your heart and then open your arms. Feel your heart widen, your mind open, your soul expanding, energetic circle widening, and welcome newness. Loving unconditionally means valuing diversity. Are we able to put aside the bias of the world we grew up in and get to know people at a different social identity from our own before we make up our mind about who they are? We all have biases, and our behavior outpictures those beliefs, whether they're subtle or not so subtle. We must be careful not to get caught up in creating an otherness, for we all belong to one human family, and we all bring a unique piece of the divine tapestry of our humanity. Spiritual contemplation. What privilege or bias did you grow up with that is still in your subjective? Anything that just came to mind, oops, is still there. Is it possible that what you call your intuition is actually a hidden belief that's still influencing you? What reason keeps you from getting to know someone whose orientation toward life is different from who you are? Affirmation, I see God's expression in all people. So I invite you to close your eyes as I see the God expression in each and every person here. As I open my heart and my mind to that sanctuary of the Most High, and I recognize that divine spirit is the tapestry of all of life. It is the multiplicity, it is the variety that moves into the one life, the one mind, the one perfect expression of spirit that expresses itself through all and as all. For God is all there is, and I am one with God. For I am that I am. I am that essence of wholeness and goodness. I am the grace and the joy, and I'm a little unique in my own silly way. As I know this is so true about me, I know this is truth about each and every person here. Each person is that unique, individualized expression of wholeness, of goodness, of fullness, of life. God expressing through you, as you, and by you now. And what I know is that each person opens their hearts and their minds and their soul to expand their mind and embracing the variety of life, knowing that through love that war will cease on earth, and we hold that vision for a planet that is peaceful. So I know each and every person here has a question that is stirring in your mind, your heart, your body, your soul, and I recognize that Dr. Christian Sorensen is that conduit of spirit, for he is spirit expressing through him. I know that all answers are answered with ease and with grace. There's an infinite intelligence that can't help to express through him, through joy and through passion and through love. For I'm grateful to be a part of this spiritual community, knowing that all is good and all unfolds, and everyone comes here today will hear that message of their heart, for this is a time of soul-to-soul communication within this spiritual community. As I release my word into the law of mind with a grateful heart, and so it is.
Good morning, Seaside. Well, I'm happy to be back with you today. It's always such a pleasure to be with you in the morning, and I'm filling in, of course, for the lovely Rebecca Jade, who's on tour with Miss Sheila E. right now. So I have the pleasure today of introducing a wonderfully soulful, very vibrant individual who I think is going to move you with her music today, Miss Angel Travis. She's got a CD for sale today. Brand new CD that's coming out, so make sure you check in with her. And without further ado.
Hi. Oh, wow. Are you ready? I don't know what's going to happen. Something always does. Okay. Tell you what is on my mind, to stop the talking, the wasting of time. The story brought us here, and we're all right. And you got love inside, you gotta go and fly, 'cause you can change. Hard when you're scared, you push on through your fears, and you are change. You gotta change. Oh, change. 'Cause when we walk asleep, will anything goes. You gotta stop the talking, let the drama go. You wanna take back your life, you wanna take it back, sure. Be the love, be the light, be the love, be the light. Let it all go and change. When it is hard, when you're scared, you push on through your fears and you change. Oh, no, you gotta push on through what's not the truth. Believe in yourself and know you can change. You can change, 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 change. Yeah, you can, yeah, you can, yeah, you can. Oh, you can change. Change. Push right on through what's not the truth. Believe in yourself and know that you can change. You push on through what's not the truth. Believe in yourself and know that you can change, 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 change. You can change, 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 change. Put-a-do, 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 put-a-do. Be the love, be the light, 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 be light. You can change, 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 you can change.
That is Angel Travis. Oh my goodness. That is wonderful. That's beautiful. That is terrific. Oh, wow. Oh, it did it again. It's like you just lit me up inside and outside. That is Angel Travis. Woo, that's right. You know, it's like during the song, before I get up here, I like open up my spine so the energy's flowing. But when Angel sings, it just pops open. That energy starts flowing. The chills are going. I'm ready, God. Bring me downloading time. So anyway, hey, this morning's is about you having your questions answered. And so on your spiritual journey, have there been questions that have come to your mind or your awareness? Are there questions you have about the philosophy? This is the time where you get to ask those questions. As I said, keep it sharp, telescopic brevity, not your stories. That's my part. But it's a question that you might have. So we've got mic runners around here. So if you have a question, raise your hand. And yes, you don't get a mic because they're in the back. So that is a fabulous book. What's the title of that book? Just happens to be Living from the Mountaintop. Oh, is that a good one? Yes. Good. It's a wonderful class. I do it in the spring. It's called Living from the Mountaintop, or you can join me. I'm doing it in Big Sky, Montana in September. But what I love about that book is I have taught mysticism for many years. It is really the high, if there's such, it's where one goes with our spiritual practices, that connection with the infinite. And as I taught classes on mysticism, the most recent one our organization was offering was based on Carolyn Meese, who is a fabulous book, and it was good. But she's Catholic, and she has God outside of herself. It's a Catholic kind of belief, though she keeps pointing towards, our connection with the infinite. And so I was just determined, you know what, I'm going to write my own book on what I believe about mysticism. And so I used the metaphor of getting to the mountaintop, because if you can have the witness consciousness, that observing consciousness of your life, and pull yourself out of the drama, and pull yourself out of the experiences and recognize that I'm at choice as to what's going to come out of my mouth, or I'm at choice as to what's going to fill my field of awareness or my mind, and I can allow it to be of a high quality of spirit, or I can let it be of an earth quality that just wants to, duke that person who's messing with me, and realize that I'm at choice here. And so the metaphor living from the mountaintop is to be able to see that, and when we recognize that, you know what, those thoughts I'm thinking, have you ever watched yourself actually think inside? You notice those feelings come. Well, I want you to get that if you can notice those thoughts and feelings inside of you, those thoughts and feelings are not who you are. You're the one who's observing it. And so living from the mountaintop is bringing that observer or witness consciousness to your life and all that you do. So yes, springtime, I'll do another one of those, and it's good.
In the spring.
In the spring, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, we got Abigail. I heard you were swimming with all the Seaside Sisters last night, huh? Woo, there were like 50 of you over at my house last night. Trevor and I had to leave.
Have you ever seen God?
I'm looking at God right now, and she has blonde hair, big smile, and sparkles like crazy. So I believe that God is in everything, everywhere. So it's my responsibility to see God in all places. And so thank you for reminding me that I'm looking at God right now.
You're welcome.
Any questions for you? Yes.
So coming in as a new member, what do you recommend as encompassing the Seaside experience to the fullest?
Well, welcome. I'm glad you're part of this and that you're here. And so Sundays is where it's happening. Wednesday nights is where it's happening. And actually next week we're starting some sacred circles. And what those are free in-home study groups, or we like to call them sacred circles, where you take the message to a deeper level. And starting next month, what we're going to do for the month is base the 4 talks that are coming in August on Abraham's teachings, or Esther Hicks' teaching in the law of attraction. So that's a wonderful place to get involved. And then September, I'll be teaching the basics of religious science. And there's 10 core concepts we use. And so the foundation is the name of that class, and that will be on Tuesday nights. And so what we have is a teaching that we call the science of mind. And our philosophy is called religious science, and our movement is called Centers for Spiritual Living. So what we teach is the science of mind, and a philosophy that's called religious science, and a movement that is called Centers for Spiritual Living. And another great place to get involved is any of the social activities that are going on. I know the Divine Connection group is happening, a great place to meet people. And the great experience about Seaside is engaging and meeting people. And that's where the magic happens, when you get to play with people of like mind, and they start to create all sorts of fun activities. I know the board's throwing a wonderful year-end concert in our gardens September 17th, so love to see you there. Thank you. Yes, we'll go in the back, then we'll come up here. We'll go Joel, and then we'll come to Sammy and Audra. And yes.
Reverend Sorensen.
That's me.
What is the spiritual significance of connecting within with that which does not serve us, and then being committed to let go and surrender and connecting with Spirit?
Connecting within, and then getting caught up with that which doesn't serve you, and then to surrender and go with God. Is that what you said? Then I can answer that. Maybe. Anyway, what happens is what's going on in this body and this mind and emotion sometimes grabs hold. We think this is so real, and yes, it is truly physical, and what's going on in our life is true experiences and physical realities, and of course it seems real. And it's our true experience until I recognize who I am as what's animating this body and is walking through this world, and that's the beauty of the observer consciousness, is to recognize I am not my experience. I mean, have you ever gone to the movie and you're just totally caught up and all your senses are engaged and involved? It's like you're seeing what's going on, you're in this big screen, you're feeling, and your emotions, and you're going through the galaxies at light speed, and that's not really your reality, but it's your experience in that moment. It is the truth. And then you walk out, it's like, wow, it's bright out. Well, what happens in our life is we are synced in with the physical, with the emotional, with the mental that is going on. And we got all our senses engaged, and we think this is this stuff, this is what's real. No, what's going on here is a reflection of our consciousness, is a reflection of what we're going on inside. And so if you want to jump quantum, light speed, warp to the next dimension, what you've got to do is get to that higher connection with that infinite that is not the experience, that is not the thoughts, and begin to recognize that intelligence that created all things, which means me too. You got that? That intelligence that created all things, some like to call it the infinite. All the religions talk about that. That includes you. That's not blasphemy, though some people may want to burn you at the stake for saying you're spirit. You're not all of it, but all that you are is spirit. Does that make sense? Good. This means yes. Get in there. When you recognize that is truly who you are, that created all things, you are not bound by the creation. You are the creator. And when you begin to take charge and recognize this body is not who I am, it is housing who I am as I walk through this dimension, this vibration, as I down this skin suit to move through this dimension like we put on tanks to go through the ocean. I put on this body to move through this dimension, and who I am is what's inside there. And as I can remove myself from the experience and recognize this infinite intelligence that created the galaxies in the universe, is the truth I am, and it's not bound up by the physical challenges, the emotional challenges, the financial challenges. Those become my spiritual practices where I get to bring forth the greater aspect of spirit expressing as me here now. So that's how I do it. So thanks, Joel. One of these ladies, you pick one, Marty.
Oh, well, raise your hand. I don't know how to...
These two, right here. God's...
Okay. Wow. All right. So.
Yes.
So here's what I'm noticing.
Okay, say it.
I'm like really loud with this. I don't even know if I need it. Okay. What I'm noticing is this. I'm seeing a direct polarity in a particular area in my life where I have built something that's very much in alignment with my core values, with my spiritual service, and yet I'm seeing all the areas where it doesn't align, almost simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, am I looking for the unicorn when instead of just being in the experience and kind of just noticing that I find that odd. So I'm wondering if you could speak to that a little bit about balance, polarity, and how to focus on the good.
Sure. The thing about polarity is that it gives you motion. You got here, and then you look here, and you got here, and it moves you, and it begins almost like it gets you spinning in the polarity, the north and the south. It gives you the motion, the action, and you get to direct that. And so when you're in a situation, you find the blessings, and you find the good, that's wonderful, and you're in it, and you experience it, and then as you go a little bit deeper, you could see how things could enhance and be better. And so one doesn't need to make what isn't quite right wrong. What you get to do is to take a look at the qualities of that which is enhancing, because our spiritual evolution is about emergence, it's about evolution, it is about expansion. And so without having to make what was wrong, because it got you to where you are, and you're sitting next to your beautiful daughter and your mom right between them, whatever is going on in your life is working. Be grateful for the good that you saw in this experience, and begin to open your eyes to the greater quality of spirit that is moving you to the next level. And sometimes seeing what isn't working or doesn't feel congruent with your expanding soul allows you the opportunity to create something better, to get clear as to how it does serve, but to take a look. And that's about becoming aware and opening your eyes. And as one moves and emerges, one becomes more aware, the eyes become more open, and you begin to see the fuller picture, since spirit is in and through all things, not just in this focus that is good, but now it's here, spirit's there too. How do I see it here, and how do I see it here, and how I see it there? And what the polarity does is it gets you in that motion as opposed to just being it's all good. And there's so many people caught up in the Pollyanna attitude that it's all good, when this is good, but you know what? What's next? This is good. What's next? And this helps you see what's next. So, good. Mm-hmm. That's it. Audra.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, congratulations again on your practitioner license.
Thank
Passed
you.
your orals last month.
Speaking of which,
okay,
for those who are uneducated on the available opportunities, what are these things called practitioners? Who are they? How do they serve? What what should someone attending service know about what is available for them and how to receive support?
Nice, okay. So what is a spiritual practitioner? And I believe that everyone who is practicing the presence is a practitioner. But what we have are licensed practitioners, and there's an overarching organization here called the Centers for Spiritual Living. And what they do is they grant a license to a spiritual practitioner who has put in several years of deepening consciousness, practicing and learning the art of prayer and meditation and honing in the consciousness. It's not just about getting the information. I watch people want to rush it through and get it all in this quick year because I can get that information in here. But what it is about is having life emerge over several years and seeing, am I able to apply these spiritual principles in my life? And along that path, having teachers and mentors to assist them to develop that craft. And so a practitioner is the spiritual undergirding, if you would, of our community here. We have more than 40 spiritual practitioners. You see their faces up on the wall. And they are the spiritual counselors of our communities. And they are there to work on Sundays. If you want a prayer, as you heard me say, go back to our prayer table and receive a prayer the last Sunday of the month, which is today. You come on up and say, hey, I've got this prayer request. And what they will do is you put the request out, and what they know is the spiritual truth of the situation. They will know the spiritual truth from the God perspective. They have worked on being able to tap into that divine vibration that you feel when you're walking out on the beach. They don't have to be out on the beach. They're able to call it forth in a moment of challenge or difficulty or a moment of grace on how to connect with that spirit and allow it to express through them. They're also available on a private consultation basis. They're professionals, which means that, privately, if you contract with them, they get paid for their time. You don't get paid for the healing. They get paid for their time like an attorney or like a dentist or anyone. Their time is valuable, and it's their livelihood. And so they're available to you on Sunday at no cost, but on a private session, they're there for you. And what they do is the spiritual counseling to assist individuals to move to a place of greater realization of the presence of God and continue to work with our prayer. And our prayer we call a spiritual mind treatment. And we have a unique style of prayer. It's not the only way to pray, but it's a way that works well. And it's not a beseeching. It's not asking God, hey, God, if you see to it, if you see me worthy, would you answer my prayer? It's not at all the way in which we pray. We pray with a definite method, which there's 5 steps. The first is a recognition. You recognize that presence. And the second step is to unify with it, where you feel your oneness with that. And then once you recognize and feel your oneness with it, you speak the spiritual truth, which is a realization from the God perspective. If God spoke the word, it'd be done, right? So the 4 steps, gratitude, and you let it go. Take it away, God. And so they're trained in this style of prayer, which is entirely different than asking Spirit to deliver something, but rather they recognize that they're Spirit expressing, so they speak from the God place. We're all Spirit, right? We just nodded to that a moment ago. That's the truth of our being. But can you really believe that when your back hurts or your relationship is challenged or you've got constriction in your finances, say, I'm really God speaking? No. That's the value of going to a spiritual practitioner who knows that spiritual truth about you and is able to proclaim it, and there is a law that responds to it that delivers at the level of the consciousness that claimed it. And the value of the practitioner is they're not in the pain, they're in the spiritual truth, and all you got to do is be in that field, and boom, there you go. And so that's kind of why people use practitioners. So, thank you, Audra. Congratulations once again. Who else has, yes, Kat. Hey, are you bringing people in? I forgot to say, anybody at home, call in. Kat's been sitting here in the front row the last few weeks, and as you've heard, we've got over 1,000 people checking us out on Sunday mornings through Facebook. Then we got our full film crew going on, people watching us on our website. And so what we put out there this week is, if you got any questions, call them in or write them in, whatever they did. What do we got?
Yes. So today we have a question from Jose Mancos. He's calling. Well, he's not calling. He's sending a message from Brentwood, Long Island. He wants to know, what do you consider to be one of the biggest contributing factors in a person becoming more spiritually aware and conscious?
Well, Jose, I think one of the contributing factors to people becoming more aware and conscious is to practice. We can't get around it. Our life is our spiritual practices, and one of the things that is valuable is when the challenges come up, and is for us to be able to take our spiritual principles and put it there. Also, for developing consciousness is to get into classes. Also, is to sit out in nature, to feel that presence of God. Also, to meditate, to take the time so that experience becomes so real that when you have that challenge show up in your life, you're familiar with what it feels like inside, so you're able to get back to that place. So as I was saying this morning, when I stood up here when Angel sings, my spine just lights up by itself. But when it doesn't light up by itself, I'm familiar what it's like to fire up that kundalini. And I'm sitting there and it's just opening up that energy for all of us. And so it's nice when it happens, but it's also nice to be able to make it happen because that is your tension. And so bringing your awareness to your life is imperative to the spiritual growth. Bringing your awareness to when it's working, and this is what it feels like, and to bring your awareness to what challenges that. Awareness is what expands one's understanding on how it is operating in our individual lives. You know, we say here, and I say meditate, pray, walk on the beach. Those are nice intellectual concepts, but it's only as you become familiar with what the sound of spirit is within your field of awareness are you able to call it forth when it's missing. And awareness allows you to be clear that this is missing and I am caught up in this human suit, having this human experience, but I'm not bound by this movie that I find myself in, but rather I am able to move my understanding to something greater and have that begin to reflect in my life, my world. So thanks for the question. Appreciate it. Yes, right here. Glenn. We're heavy on this side today, on the right side of the house. You know, you guys can ask questions too, you know? Yes.
So over the last couple of years, I've been doing my daily prayers and so forth and have my normal stuff that finds its way into the prayers. For whatever reason, lately I've been including just the minutia of my day. And there's a part of me that feels like, well, that's, you know, it's almost like I'm on the phone with a friend and they say, well, what'd you do today? And I kind of go over that. Mm-hmm. And there's a big part of me that feels like, well, that's a little bit too familiar and maybe not a good place, you know, to find my way into the prayers. You had talked about the art of prayer and so forth. And I thought maybe God doesn't need to hear about how I felt on the driving range today.
There you go. But, you know, I'm probably interested in that. So, you know, wonderful question. Do I bring all the minutiae of my day, including my drives on the driving range, into my prayers with God? Well, what I have found is, for me, meditation is wonderful, and I start my prayers with some time in the silence, but the value of going into silence is I run the movie of my day by my mind oftentimes, and all those things I see going on, I acknowledge it. God doesn't need that, but I do. Because that's what's going on in my brain and my thinking. There's not a right or there's not a wrong. See, the part of being available for that higher expression is just getting rid of the lower stuff that's holding you down. And if it needs to come up, that's great. And the value about the regular daily spiritual practice of meditation is that over time, as you're developing your connectedness, you go through this baggage you have been carrying. And so you sit down in the silence, and there's nothing silent about it. Your head's on, from last year, last week, childhood. And you do this for days and weeks, and you look at it. You don't try to fight it. Eventually, and I promise you this, it gets to that place where you sit down, and that past stuff is no longer coming up into the present stream. Whether it takes you weeks, months, or years, that you get to that place where you get to that silence. So when you sit down to do your prayers or for meditation, only what comes up is what's current, because that's what's alive. You look at it, it dissipates, and now I'm a blank space for spirit to reveal, to download, for me to put forth that which I'm seeking to demonstrate in my life, and to recognize that spirit isn't outside. I am that. And what challenges come up, which differentiates us clearly with our practitioners, is how we pray. And we don't pray to something outside. What we pray is, what our prayers are an expression of the spiritual truth of the situation, is spirit proclaiming the truth. Because if God is everything and I am that, then I'm proclaiming the truth. And so that's the way I go with it. I look at it, say thank you very much, and then I'm now available. And it's not praying or meditating to anything outside, but rather it's coming into my experience of the higher spiritual truth of the situation of my day. And for me to clear sometimes, I just run some divine qualities or God qualities. If I can't quiet it down, then I just go, grace, and gratitude. Joy, love, grace, and gratitude. Joy, love, grace, and gratitude. I just get that vibration going so the other stuff falls away. I'm not going joy, love, grace, and gratitude for anything in particular other than that's just what I want to feel, my field of awareness. And when I stop, I go in that direction as opposed to this one down there. So, thank you. Questions? Yes, here, and then Bill. Oh, you just...
So my question today, one of the viewers actually kind of shared a part of my question, but it was something along the lines of when you're spiritually in tune and you're trying to bring out more soulful qualities in others, how do you go about that? So like, it's a very general question. You can share it in like your personal experience.
Okay, so
like
how do you bring out the soul qualities in others is what you're saying.
Right.
So one of the things that is really important to realize is I can't make anybody respond or be anything. And if that's who they're being, that's who they're being. The only thing I can be is me. And if my quality of being calls forth that higher expression of who they are to play and to match my vibration, that's beautiful. If I'm being who I am and they don't come out to play at the level in which I am vibrating, then they don't come out. And that's who they are. And it's not for me to sit to judge. There are matches and there are things that don't match, and it's not right and it's not wrong. It's just we're not matching. And so what I do is be the best I can be in being in integrity and congruent with my heart and my soul and my expression in life. And what goes on around me is a reflection that either matches or doesn't match. But that's who they are, and if things are going on that I don't appreciate, I don't have to grab it. I don't have to, if somebody gives you a gift and you don't want it, you don't have to take it. And so you let people be who they are, you be who you are, and if things begin to get together, that's great. So, thank you.
That was perfect, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
So, Christian,
yeah.
There's my coarse voice again. So, you said last Sunday that this tradition, this philosophy, tends to be pretty intellectual. Mm-hmm. And the question is, what do you recommend for translating it into the practical? You also said last Sunday that there's this transition going on from intellectual to practical application.
Yes.
In your daily life. So could you speak to a modality of that?
How do we transition from that intellectual to the applicable? And I think just starting with bringing the awareness that this mental science has just been caught up in the head and the mental. And Ernest was always big about the love and the law. And that's the key is there's two there. There is that which is knowable, the scientific aspect, and dependable. And I think we really went in that direction. And so what we get to do is to bring it into our lives. And we're watching it begin to happen more and more because these principles are applicable to what's going on in our life now. If they are not applicable, then they're of no use to us. And one of the challenges in the past is this intellectual approach is people just like to stay in the philosophical principles of it. And what we're watching happen is people beginning to apply these spiritual principles to life and what's going on in the world. And, if we can make it work in our life, we can make it work in our nation, we can make it work on our planet. That's the spiritual principles. It is universal truth, and it can be applied everywhere. And so as we begin to take a look at those areas that are alive and dynamic and say, where's spirit here? And so as we do that, what's interesting is there's people that begin to question these universal spiritual principles being applicable on national situations. Like I've always in my life have talked about equality of all people. But all of a sudden it's moving through different filters of our times, and some people are uncomfortable with that. I've always talked about freedom of religion, being able to be whatever is your spiritual expression, is what our country was built on. For 35 years I've been doing that, and all of a sudden it's now moving through filters of our times that begin to raise controversies. And so what's important is for us to take a look at these spots of these dynamics and say, can I really apply this here, or do I just want to go back to it being in the mental realm and saying we're all equal and that's just the way it is? And so as you begin to have these areas that flare up, it becomes a real experience for us. And am I able to stay true to principle here and love all people no matter what? And that's where we're taking it out of just the head and feeling how it works in my life. Am I able to open my heart and arms and greet people? Am I able to go to a spot where people are hurting and be there with a sense of compassion and love and say, Spirit is all places, meaning right here, and to bring our heart and our soul. And I think what is happening to get us out of head only is to be able to realize that we are the deliverer of this spiritual message. You are the heart of God being manifested in this world. Yes, love and spirit and compassion is all places, but are you the place where love and spirit and compassion is showing up? Yes, abundance is in all places, but if you're just intellectualizing and you're struggling to pay your bills, then what relevance is it to you in your life? And so at one point when it was all intellectual, it was true. The concepts are true. But you know what? What is happening is we are in a more dynamic, interactive time, and it is about applying them in our life. And it's nice to say this is true, but you know what? It is demonstrable, and to have it work in our world. Also, I'm seeing more children get involved. We've got wonderful youth teachers that are teaching our kids at an early age. You're worthy. You're an expression of God. You don't need to be treated anything less than. Yes, you can make your dreams come true. And we're beginning to expand individuality among other people. And so how do we move from the head to the heart? That 18-inch journey is big, and we are the ones that get to do that, bringing our awareness to, hey, this is a dynamic. How can I bring forth spirit here? What's going on in my life or what's going on in my world are my prayer requests to bring forth a greater expression of the presence of God. So how do we move it from the head? Is we are the channel, the avenue, the conduit in which that greater vibration is moving. We talk it. We're seeing it in movies now more than ever before. We're seeing in books more than ever before. It's happening in conversations more than ever before. This movement is the fastest growing movement, according to the New York Times a few years back, in our nation. And to help keep it alive and out of the philosophical realm only. So thank you for that. So, you know what, guys? We've run out of time here. I'd love to keep going, but we're out of time. And to honor your time, so, Nancy, I saw your hand. Last one. If you're going to be a little late for something, blame Nancy. But what's your question there?
Okay. Would you address the aging issue? I'm having trouble knowing I'm not as fast, as quick, as I used to be.
Yeah.
So
I should have stopped questions.
I know you have words of wisdom.
Yeah,
Thank you.
If we want to stay just in the intellectual part, go to Deepak's early book that you don't never need to grow old. I think what we're dealing with is a physical body, and we're coming to understand how we can keep the organisms or the cells and the atoms, the vibrancy of this body going strong longer than it had ever been before experienced on this planet. So I think as a race, physiologically, we're moving and progressing in that direction. And I've heard all sorts of amazing stories of people, living to, more than 100 years and being active on the golf course. Read the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East. You can read about these yogis that have amazing stories that they can lay down their body and pick it up later and it doesn't deteriorate. I don't know for sure about those things, but what I do know for sure is the soul and spirit inside of us is what is the key. And as I speak with those that have been around the sun a lot more times than I have, that they're saying, I still feel like 30 inside, but the body's not like running as fast as it used to be. My drives aren't quite as far as they once were. And what I recognize is it's the spirit that makes the difference. I can remember sitting with my dad saying, gosh, I remember when I was the first one up the hill, and now I got to catch my breath up here in Mammoth. It's like, it's okay, Dad. You're 82 years old. You don't have to be. But you know what? It's that spirit inside that's able to stay fresh and current and contemporary and keep learning stuff all the time. Every week you should be engaged with learning something new. Kat's pulling her hair out trying to teach me Instagram and Facebook. Because I'm having such a rough time, I made all of you learn it with me. But as we continue to stay young, fresh, current, and contemporary, there is that vibrancy inside. And when we get to the end of our journey in this physical form, we'll be laying these bodies down because they have been used up to the max, but not because they are deteriorating slowly, but because we have lived full out to the finish line that is there with a spirit that is in their 30s, that is vibrant and alive. And that is the continuity of the individual soul that Ernest Holmes talks about, is that one that is alive, vibrant. You know, you got a body here, you're going to get a body wherever you go next, and you're just trading it in for the new model. How many cars have you had? Well, I can't even begin to guess how many bodies you've had. So keep that soul and spirit young, and when you burn out this body, you get a brand new model, and what a blessing that is, wherever we may be driving. So with that, how would you like to hear some more of Angel? Bring in the angel, Travis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like that.
Oh, good.
I'm ready for models when I get there, you know. I want to talk about my ankles this morning. But I will talk about our heart. All right.
Thank you for loving me, and thank you for all of my angels who are watching me, and thank you for my gifts. God, thank you for setting me free, and thank you for loving me. 'Cause even when I cannot see, and even when I've fallen on my knees, and when my mind says I'm empty, you say, angel, wake up. I gave you your wings that you may fly. Wake up, angel, I love you. I never left your side. If this were our very last human day in our body, wouldn't you love so completely, no matter what it would take? And wouldn't you let go of all of your fear and your hate? And wouldn't you let it all go? Just let it go away. 'Cause even when you're on your knees, and even when you think you're on empty, and when you're falling out of belief, God says, wake up, angels, I gave you your wings that you may fly. Wake up, 'cause I love you. I never left your side. Wake up, my I'm right here inside of you. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Do you hear me? Wake up. I said, wake up, my angels. Wake up, my angels. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I never left you. I've always been right here. I've always been right here.
That is Angel Travis. Wow. Woo, boy, now that's what I'm talking about, getting lit up. Thank you for your vulnerability and just for leaving it all on the stage for us. Ah. Whew, from a deep place that came. My goodness. Been here the whole time. Man, what a great message. I didn't even have to talk this morning. I should have just let you sing. You know? I like it. I love that. Oh, wow. I'm just so moved. I mean, okay, back present. Here we go. Hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in our givingness and the sharing. This is the time where we just are able to say thank you for Spirit being in our life. It is moments like this every Sunday for the last 25 years that we have just paused, and whoever has been in these seats has supported this spiritual expression of God known as Seaside through time and space, so we're able to sit here today. And so as we continue to say thank you, God, I'm awake that you're always with me, and it is Spirit that moves through me, that this giving is the activity of God, and it reciprocates in our life in an expanding kind of way. And so as you support Spirit's work, you'll come to experience Spirit supporting its work as your life in those ways that matter to you, because Spirit's all things. And so I invite you to listen to your heart. Wake up. I'm here all along. And the manner in which you choose to support this work in your life is how it supports your life. So I invite you to take your offering from your hand or your heart or your program or wherever you may have that sitting at this time. And just feel that love. I want to invite our ushers to come forward at this time and say thank you to this wonderful crew. Thank you to those who mail in your contributions when you can't be here on a Sunday. It is greatly appreciated, as well as those that choose to practice with the auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world. It makes a difference, that regularity and that consistency, where we don't have to worry how we're going to make it through the summer. You know, it's just you being here and supporting this time is very powerful. So with this, I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this truly is a blessed moment where the fullness of the divine unfolds and moves and grooves to our very experience here and now. For we are living in this flow, this energetic, this vibration, this wonderful sense of movement. For God is having its way as our very life. And as we say, yes, this is what begins to demonstrate and manifest and materialize within our life. And as we choose to allow ourselves to be the activity of God's abundant motion, what we find is that abundant emotion expanding in our life. So grateful to know that my source is God, and that it's not a person, place, thing, employer, or particular product. It is God that moves through all those things, and those things and avenues and channels continue to be infinite taps into that inexhaustible reservoir of affluent flow that is moving through our life. So through this action, we open ourselves up to that flow, and I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for being consciously aware of what it takes to be in that greater flow. And so it is. Amen. Together, let's say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. from Seaside. Nice job. Woo. And so as I stand before this bounty, I can feel the love. I can feel the outpouring of just the caring and the kindness and the support. For truly the blessings of God has touched and enriched our individual lives. And we have been graced by that divine quality of spirit that has just enriched our very experience. And I know right now that as each of us continues to practice in this sharing and this giving, we will open up that wonderful well, that wellspring, that infinite tap that touches that which is inexhaustible. It pours forth into our life, bringing the blessings in all those perfect kinds of ways. And that which has been given in love, it is handled in good stewardship and then sent forth back into life, keeping those blessings to all that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment to pause, to remember, to practice, to move beyond conception into application, the wonderful expression of the abundant flow of life. And so it is. Amen. All right. This is Edwin Robinson. He is your board president here at Seaside. Angel, you are just so fabulous and wonderful. Where those sounds come from, I haven't a clue. But thank you for your vulnerability and just leaving it all on the stage for us. It moved us all. Thank you very much. And pick up her CD. Take her home with you. You don't have to let it end here. Whitney, oh, what a great joy to have you just rocking this house in the mornings with us. Thank you for being out late, getting here early, and you are just wonderful. Speaking of wonderful, Reverend Lori Mack, congratulations this week. You passed your oral panels for ordination. Woo, that's right. After a minister has been licensed, they have to spend 3 years in internship in which they then become a candidate for ordination. And that's what happened with you this week. And we're just very proud of your wonderful work. Looking forward to you doing the talk on Sunday morning on the 27th and some of your thoughts in prepping for this great trek you're taking on, the Camino in September. So, hey, giving us sound today is Ed. Thank you very much. Marv, thank you for giving us the visuals. And just thank you to the wonderful film crew that has been here week after week under the direction of the Crawfords. You are a blessing getting the word out. And as you can see, we're getting people watching from all over the place. And thank you, Carrie. Carrie, are you here? Carrie, flowers are gorgeous from Michelle and Tammy, and just honoring our beloved Sharon, your beloved wife, wonderful, masterful practitioner. Yesterday was a year in which she moved on, right? Or Wednesday. So thank you. And I think you even brought some goodies for us to chow on, some cookies afterwards. So we appreciate that for sure. Take a look at the Sunday program. There's a lot going on, like there's a gathering of the Divine Connection group organizing what's coming up next. Also, we've got Gene Houston. You want to be here for that. We've got an organizing group. The first time we're getting together to plan the Gene Houston event is after the service today with me in one of our classrooms over there. So join me for that. Also want to tell you on the 20th, you got an incredible speaker here, Esther Nicholson, right out of your, amazing, look at that, out of Agape. She just moves hearts and souls, a practitioner with consciousness, a professional singer out of, I think, Nashville, actually, in Tennessee. And she's going to be here doing the service and a workshop afterwards, so be aware of that. That's coming up. I was trying to think what else is in here. There's a lot going on. Oh, this is why I was coming over here. Hey, next week, some Sacred Circles are available. It's based on the teachings of Abraham, Esther and Jerry Hicks' book, The Law of Attraction. We've got 4 weeks, and Sacred Circles are small, like in-home study groups that take the Sunday message to a deeper level, and the messages are going to be based out of this. But if you want to see specifically out of this means, you can go to our website. Kat put it under the education called Sacred Circles, and you can see the 4-week topics and what's going to be discussed. So if you want, you can sign up for Sacred Circle in the back, or if you want to host one, it doesn't need to be a practitioner this go-around. I think, Trudy, weren't you interested in doing one too? So this is what's going on, and take advantage of it. We have these wonderful offerings around Seaside. You just got to pay attention and see what's being offered. There's more than like pick up your name tags if you're a new member, the Howard Richmond celebration this Saturday. There's a lot. But what I want to do is pray, and as I shared with you, the last Sunday of the month is our prayer wall Sunday. But before I ask up our practitioners, I thought of one more thing. Asking our young ones, you got anything to share with us? Grace, you drove all the way in from LA this morning, huh? Did you drive yourself? Or did your mom drive? Would anybody else like to share? Okay. We love you. You know what? We got an affirmation for you. Let's say this together. We see you. We love you. We support you in your magnificence. Okay, practitioners, come on up. What I'm going to do is a short prayer. We'll sing ourselves out like we typically do. And then afterwards, come on up and have a prayer request. Bring a prayer request. Have these practitioners who have this consciousness that they have been working on developing so they can call forth that vibration of wholeness right there in that moment, whatever you put there. And nothing needs to be wrong. Maybe you're working on something and you could use some good juju, going to bless your vision, your dream. Come here and ask for that, because what they do is they come from that place of the God awareness of whatever is placed before them. So place whatever's near and dear to your heart. And with that, I just open my heart and can feel that vibration of God. I feel that divine motion and that movement here and now. I cannot stand still, but I must move, for my body is just animated with life itself. And it's in this sense of realization and this awareness that this frequency begins to bring to my field of conscious understanding a little bit more that wonderful expression of God that moves in and through all things, for I know I am one with that allness. And there's a responsiveness to that. And so I speak from this revelation, knowing the truth for each and every one of us that is here is God expressing in those ways that are right in particular. So if you're working on anything, take this moment, just lift it a little bit higher in this field of awareness and just see yourself offering it up to that light and allow it to be replaced with the God qualities in whatever field you may be working in. For knowing it is right that you walk this world with a body that is healthy and whole and vibrant to support that young spirit that is within. And it is right for you to be sourced in your creative expression, to live with a sense of fulfillment and success, that truly the affluent flow of life is our natural state. We are not meant to have our mind be filled with the concerns and the worries as to how we're to make this idea come forth, but we find the courage to go for that vision that has been placed within our field of awareness with the strength and conviction that all is well. For all is, the relationships are magical and deep and juicy and just beautiful. For God moves here, feel that, something that is beyond words. Every prayer request that has been brought forth to us is answered. For our beloved Sharon DeLeon, whose father made his transition this week, Marvin, that he moves on with those wonderful currents of eternality, able to express his life once again with freedom and self-expression and a joy and aliveness. For the blessings of grace of God is not only upon him, but the whole family, with a deep peace that passes any kind of knowledgeable understanding, but with that activity of the heart. And for Seaside, every member here is blessed and graced by God, moving to an ever greater conscious level of awareness, and that Seaside continues to grow on Sundays, on Wednesdays, in abundance, because it is a growing, thriving spiritual community that is saying yes to its spiritual vision that is calling us to what is next. Continually moving forward and sharing these spiritual principles that are relevant for today, for they are universal spiritual truths that are applicable to all things. And so I am just filled with love and gratitude for the Spirit expressing within our hearts, within our family, within our community, within our nation, and upon this globe. For truly the blessings of God moves here perfectly, and I am thankful to be able to see this, state this, proclaim this, for it is not my truth, but the truth that I let go and know has its way. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day. Got to let go, yeah. And this is what you have to say. Come on. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life with my heart open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I Let the Spirit run my life. Yes, my heart is open wide, and I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Let me hear you, Seaside. Is that all you got? There we go. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
And our affirmation is, my life is blessed by Spirit. Let's say that together. My life is blessed by Spirit. Touch your heart and say it again. My life is blessed by Spirit. One more time. My life is blessed by Spirit. And our song of grace.
Living in love, I'm living in peace. I'm living my life for what I believe. Through choice and through fears, in this world I walk. God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me, and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace.
Come on up. Receive prayer. We're here for you. Come ask.